Hello, everybody, and good morning. Good morning to you, world, wherever you are, whether you're that way, that way, that way, or that way. Welcome to the show. This is the Griggs Let's Talk show, and this is Cafe Clairvoyance. So you need a cup of coffee. See this with doggies on, because I love animals. And you need to sit down, and we are going to chat about everything to do with spirituality, mediumship, auras, little questions about auras coming up today, and about sensing things, about knowing things, all intriguing, just for you guys. And also during the show here, we'll be talking about different things going on around our lives here, and also maybe topics people are talking about. It'd be interesting to relate to the astrology side, what this is all means, what energies we're sort of picking up here, where we're going. Anyway, so today, here we are, Cafe Clairvoyance. This is all about the spiritual universe. This is about you guys. This is about everyone who comes on the show. And let's start. So today, I would just like to invite a very, very special guest. And she is a lovely, lovely lady. I know you're going to be so pleased to hear all about her stories, everything's going on, is the world famous Katie Knight. Hello, Katie.
Hello. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you.
All right, glad you liked it. Welcome to our show.
Me. Thank you. I'm really excited.
Absolute pleasure. Love the cartoons behind you. I think they're fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Our Super Mario Bros. God, there's a few of them around the house. I've got a few Disney ones up as well.
Okay, I guess that's the introduction to life, to keeping life young.
It is.
We don't grow old, do we? We don't. No. Don't care what my age is. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still feeling young and still feeling positive, and just like you are there. Fantastic. Okay, so let's do a little introduction around to see what's going on here. So Katie is a very successful and popular presenter. She's been working in a show here since May 2017 and has been the host of Ibiza Global Radio and TV. Whoa, hosting such shows as It's All About the Music, All About the Music Radio, Blue Marlin Radio Show, Solorado Radio Show, Resistance Radio Show, and many more. And Ibiza Global Radio and TV is one of the biggest brands in electrical music in the world, consisting of 5 platforms and channels, FM radio stations, Ibiza, Mallorca, Italy, Croatia, and Israel. Sounds like you're taking over the world. Well, okay. Katie and her band are taking over the world. Follow the music. And also on digital terrestrial television, our app and website, a huge following on social media, represents the values and the lifestyle of the very specific targets of who we all have one thing in common: the love and the passion for dance, music, and the island of Ibiza. That is lovely, because Ibiza is a beautiful island. And for those people here who have never been to Ibiza, how would you describe it?
Magical. Ibiza is magical. For me, it is, and always will be, my favorite place on this planet. I've been to a lot of different places, but there's just something about Ibiza that's just so special. It does have a crazy side to it, obviously, and I do work in that kind of crazy part as well, which is obviously the clubbing scene and dance music, but it also has a beautiful relaxed side to it as well, which is more the north of the island. And a lot of people come here because of the energy, and it's nice that it has them 2 sides to it, and you can either go one way or you can go the other, or you can try both out, and it's lovely. It's a very nice place to call home.
I must admit, I think it's a beautiful island. I had the great opportunity of going there, if I look back on this, probably about 10, 15 years ago. And I must admit, of all the islands I've been to, I think Ibiza is the most magical.
Yeah, yes. It is. All the Balearic Islands are lovely, but Ibiza's always been my favourite.
Forget the Maldives, forget the Seychelles, forget all those.
So close.
Exactly. wherever you are in the world, even you're in America over there, it's not difficult to get to Ibiza. Once you're there, sorry, won't want to go home.
And then we've got Formentera as well, which is a 20-minute ferry ride from Ibiza. And the beaches there are just, they're incredible. They're white, it's white sand, crystal blue waters, and it's just, it's lovely. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I'm beginning to wonder, are you a radio presenter or a travel agent?
Maybe I should start and see if I can start being a travel agent as well. I have done a few things on TV to sell the island though, so maybe that's why I'm good at doing it.
That's probably what you're doing. Fantastic. Okay, so you're describing it as you write here. We are really excited as Kate describes Ibiza as not just a music island, but a very spiritual place too. So you're really looking forward to the show, which we are, and it's just a pleasure to welcome you on today. Absolute pleasure. And thank you for telling us about you here. So what's your star sign?
I am Leo.
Leo the Lion. What a great show to be in presenting television, things like this. So all Leos here, it's not all Leos want to be television presenters. And if there is a quality about you, for example, if we talk about Leos, did you think you would like expressing yourself?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's part of my job, really.
It's part of your job, because Leos are very good at expressing themselves, very good at being leaders and feeling they're proud in their little thrones, whether you're king or queen, depending which sex you are, and what gender you are there. So lovely. And you've got that lovely shape of a Leo face as well, and, which is quite a high sort of forehead here, which is Leo-ish. It's beautiful. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, wonderful. And as we just progress to the show here, so how and why is the music industry for you? How did you know this was the career for you when you look back in the past there?
Well, before entering the music industry, I'd known from a very young age that I wanted to be a presenter. I think probably from the age of about 7 or 8, presenting was everything that I wanted to do. So can you remember Kat Deely?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Kat Deely was like my idol. I wanted to be Kat Deely when I was younger, and that's all I wanted to do was be a presenter. So I think it's been a dream of mine since I was young, very young.
Yes.
And when I was 18, I had the opportunity to do some work experience at a nightclub here in Ibiza, which is called Amnesia, to run their social media. So they needed somebody with work experience to help out with their social media accounts and doing a few press services. So I started doing that, and I think I must have probably been about a month in, and they decided that they wanted to start a YouTube channel to interview all of the DJs that came to the club. So Amnesia Ibiza, when during the season, is open every single night. So that's a lot of DJs. And they wanted somebody who could speak English and Spanish. And I've lived in Spain since I was 12. So I went to Spanish school, so I can speak Spanish. And they said to me, do you want to have a go? Do you want to have a trial and see how it goes? So that's what I did. My first ever interview was at Amnesia. It was with a DJ called Steve Aoki, and I loved it. I was like, this is definitely what I wanted to do. This is what I always dreamt of doing. And it kind of all just started there. So I was still doing a few social media accounts at the same time. And then I was presenting, interviewing all of these DJs. And then from Amnesia, it kind of just grew into other brands as well. So other nightclubs were asking me to do interviews for them, other media brands. And it just kind of grew into me working in the music industry. So I didn't particularly go to the music industry. I just wanted to do presenting. But it just happened to work out in this industry, which I absolutely love. So it's worked out really well.
I think you're very fortunate that you're one of the souls in life who, from a very young age, you know exactly what to do, because so many people out there sometimes don't have a clue. We'll go into it later on. I mean, that was me when I was younger. I wanted to join the Navy, so I did. And it's whilst I was in the Navy that I stepped on stepped on clairvoyance and mediumship, and that was it. I wanted to change and go that particular way. And so sometimes we discover our potential later on in life, but for you, it was like straight away.
Yeah, I think I was quite young, to be honest, to realise that that's what I wanted to do. I think it was just definitely Kat Deely. I just really, really liked her. So
I must admit, I liked her too. Yes, I liked the show she was on, because she's all in that sort of publicity, isn't she? To do the interviews with people, hosting shows and doing things like this are fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, and so what motivates and drives you forward, and how this relates to, say, society today? What motivates you?
What motivates me? I think that challenges motivate me. I like to step out of my comfort zone, even though I know that's easier said than done sometimes, but I do like challenges. And I think nowadays, with the technology that we have, we're so connected. We can basically do anything we want to nowadays.
Yes.
You can be whatever you want to be, and you can create whatever you want to create. Everything is possible. And that really motivates me, because I feel like there aren't limits anymore. You can do whatever you want, wherever you want. You don't need to be in these big cities. You don't need to be living in New York to do this, or in Australia to do that. From your home, you can do whatever you want to do. And that motivates me, because there's no boundaries. So just trying out new things, setting myself goals and working as hard as I can. That is my daily motivation, is just getting to where I want to and reaching my goals.
I think that's an important thing you're making there, because I think when you say that you want to come out of your comfort zone, I think we've been very used or conditioned to think that we are limited to stay in our comfort zone, because society thinks that you've got to do that. And so do you feel yourself here that, so when you look at the news and restrictions or difficult things going on, like for instance, people are saying here that there's thousands of job losses going on in UK, around the world, millions of people out of work. Do you think, oh God, that's terrible? Or do you think, I'm just going to get on with what I need to get on with?
I do, obviously. I think it's terrible, but at the same time, I just get on with what I'm doing, because the news for me, I don't watch the news a lot, because I just feel like it's so negative and it brainwashes a lot of people. I do obviously keep up just to see what's happening and make sure I know what's going on in the world, but I don't let it affect me the way I think sometimes it does affect other people, because it's just not right. It just brainwashes so many people. And like when you say about people like losing jobs, I do think it's obviously, I don't think that's great. It is a bad thing, but then I also think that there are other opportunities, and that if people have the right mindset and the motivation, that okay, you've lost your job, but maybe this is now a sign that you have to go and do something else, or maybe this will motivate you to create something else or do something else. So I kind of try and find the positive thing out of the negative news, if that makes sense.
I think that is so dynamic and so positive just to say that. I totally vibe on that sometimes when something that you think is good comes to an end, well, yeah. Was it really good? Because maybe, otherwise you would just be conditioned to stay in it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Amen.
I think it happens to all of us, like even myself, that obviously when something negative happens, sometimes I'm the first one to be like, oh wow, why has that happened to me? But then if you just step back and you think about it, there's always something good that you're going to get out of your bad situation or whatever's happened to you. So I just think sometimes the media brainwashes us and it doesn't let us think that way. So that's why I kind of step back from it and watch it, but take it with a pinch of salt. You know?
I think very valid point to make. There's what we all call subliminal messaging, and we all react to it. Advertising works. That's why people advertise, and but the television is very, very good at subliminal messaging. But it's nice to know we can think outside the box and not be limited by the news or the media or things that seem to be going on, which can seem quite difficult, quite serious or restrictive. And it's interesting because when you go outside the box, and thinking, right, I'm not going to be conditioned to this box, you're going to go outside your comfort zone and you go out and you do something, how do you feel?
Amazing.
Amazing.
So I make myself nervous sometimes, but I like feeling nerves. I know that sounds really weird, but I like that. So, for example, a lot of people say to me, especially when I'm doing a radio show, because obviously they're always live, and a lot of people say to me, how do you do that? But like knowing that you're live and everybody's listening. But I like that adrenaline of knowing that I'm live, and that if I mess up, then I mess up. The amount of times I've messed up on air, I've said somebody's name wrong, or I've gone, happy Friday, and it's like Thursday, or all the time.
Yeah.
But I just think it's funny, and I just crack a joke and just get on with it. And that is another one of my motivations, I guess, really. I like to just feel that adrenaline and not feel comfortable. If I'm sat for a long time doing the same thing, and I know that I'm kind of getting on with it and it's good how it's going, I'm like, I need to be doing something else here. This doesn't really feel too challenging, you know. So feeling.
Well, it's so motivating talking to you. I really feel that I can feel from you that you're one of these people who wants to go out there and challenge yourself, challenge that nervous energy to go to achieve something, and the reward you get back.
Yes,
it's amazing. It's something you're doing for you. That's amazing. Amazing.
And just going back to the news thing that I was talking about, I think it'd be really interesting to say at this point as well that especially on Instagram, there are a lot of pages now that are called that are good news. So I can't remember off the top. There's one that's called Tank's Good News, and basically they're pages that show and post all of the good news in the world. Because sometimes if you turn on CNN or you turn on Sky, it's all just doom and gloom. These pages find the best news pieces and articles and they post them. So I always try and encourage people to follow these kind of things, because there's a lot of good news going on in the world as well. It's not just what we see on TV. So they're really cool.
Absolutely. I think there is, and I think that we've been used sometimes in the past there to being scaremongered into or conditioned to think that all news is bad news, when really it should be good news. I totally agree with you. I think it's fabulous. I suppose we could do that. So fantastic. What a motivated young lady you are. Brilliant. Lovely. Okay, so discuss your personal growth, self-development, the concept of self-love. And now this is interesting because we had a little chat earlier just before we came on air, and it's probably a great time to introduce this. But you said that you were on a plane, you're on a journey there, and a lady there, didn't know her from Adam, never met before. And you then entered into this in totally fantastic conversation, which by the sounds of it took the whole flight. Must have made the flight for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
So yeah, I think over the last few, especially over the last year, I have really been working on on my self-growth and self-development, and I've been reading and watching a lot of documentaries, and I've just kind of realized that if you're not happy with your own self, then it's very hard to grow professionally and to grow other relationships around you. So I've been really trying to work on myself and especially self-love, which I think is really, really important. And actually, I have a little quote here that I found the other day on Instagram that says, protect your peace, get rid of toxicity, cleanse your space, and cultivate love. And I just thought that is just everything that
Fabulous. I have one. Yes, I have one that I had earlier. I'm looking on my PC here quickly. I can't find it basically, but it was a beautiful piece. And I actually put up on Instagram. If I could find it before the end of the show, I will track it up. But one of them here, I'll read out. I think this is nice. And it says, mind, I'm worried. Heart, just relax. Mind, but I'm totally lost now. Heart. Look, just follow me. Just follow me. Mind. But you've never been there before. Heart. Trust me, you'll love it. Soul. If you two would shut up, I'd show you the map.
I love that.
Yes, you want to let some time I said it to you. Yes.
That's
So
brilliant.
it is how we talk, heart of mind, collaborating and arguing sometimes here. We need to find that balance. And the soul is there saying, just follow me, I'll show the map.
Yeah, definitely. But no, the story that I was telling you before, I think, so I don't how self-development and self-love kind of comes into this story is because I just feel like a lot more open-minded now and open to talking to new people and kind of following my feelings.
Yes.
So I sat down on this flight. It was a 2-hour flight. There was nobody in the middle seat, but there was a girl sat on the next one. And as I sat down, I thought there was kind of a bit of a connection, but we hadn't even spoken. There was nothing. But she was kind of a little bit older than me, but I was reading my books. She was reading her magazines, and I could kind of see what she was reading, and I was like, that's the kind of thing that I would have read. But anyway, we didn't speak. And halfway through the flight, she knocked a cup of water over from her tray, and it went all over the middle seat. She's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. So I was like, it's fine, don't even worry about it. So we started cleaning up. And then we got chatting, and she said, oh, I can see you're reading The Secret. And I was like, yeah. It was like, that book totally changed my life. And we got into this very, very deep, amazing conversation about self-love and when you're open-minded, how things change in your life, how everything around you changes, and when you're happy with your own self and the way you are and everything that's happening inside of you, how that changes everything else in your life, whether it could be your relationships or your job or whatever you're working on. So we got on this really, really like long, deep conversation. And I just thought if this had been a couple of years back when I wasn't really as open-minded as I am now, I would never have kind of just started talking to somebody. And it actually happened to be that a project that I'm working on, she knew somebody that could help in my project. So it was kind of meant to be. Anyway, I got so into this conversation, I actually left a bag on the plane. I got through to my connecting flight, and I was like, oh, I've left a bag. I did get it back. I was like, I'm going to get this bag back. I will get the bag back. And I did. And yeah, it was just so lovely. And in fact, I'm starting a new project that I'm working on, and I was telling her all about it. She gave me a $5 note. She said, this isn't because you need the money. I want to give this to you as a symbol of empowerment and a symbol of wealth. And it touched me so much that this girl that I'd never met before just gave me this $5 note. And I was like, that's just so nice. There's just so many.
Fantastic. That is fantastic.
Yeah. And I was honestly, I came off this plane and I was like, wow, like it's amazing. Once you've opened your mind and you're open to like your feelings and feeling how you feel, noticing your feelings, it's just so many different things can happen. So yeah, that's just a little story I had, but it was really
lovely. So this is about the law of attraction, The Secret, and how when you open your mind, everything is possible. And what I loved earlier on is you were saying here, there's just no limitations, and social media has made that, no limitations now.
Yeah, I think that social media can either go one way or the other. I think for some people, it's the way you look at it. So I think for some people, it limits what you do and what you can say, because now everybody knows everything about everyone. But at the same time, I think it's also a great tool because it does teach you how you can be more open-minded or be more spiritual, or you can learn. You have more access to these kind of different tools and ways of living. So like even the quote. So for example, the quote that I just read to you before, I really, really liked that quote. And that was something I found on social media. And I was sat for a while thinking about what it said. If social media hadn't exist, then okay, maybe I would have found it in a book or something. But it's not as easy to access these kind of information or or quotes or sayings, you know. So it
Yes.
can either go one way or the other. It's the way you look at it. I think if you're super limited and you're very narrow-minded, then you probably will see the negative side of social media. But if
Yes.
you kind of look at it in a different way, there's also really great sides to it, you know.
Mark Twain, the poet and writer, the turn of the previous century, he made a great quote, which I follow, and I love this. It makes me want to keep achieving and doing things. And his quote was, in 10 years' time, you'll never look back at what you achieved. You'll look back at what you wish you had done.
That is a great quote, and it's
I
very
love that.
true.
And I think, so I don't want to ever look back and thinking, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. No, I think I want to go out there and go and do it and achieve it and go outside that box there. I don't even remember when I was starting off in psychotherapy and hypnotherapy, as much as working the spiritual side here, that when you come outside the box and you break that limitation, yes, you could probably fall sometimes, you'll probably fall down, but when you actually achieve, it is bliss. It is total bliss. You're realizing just what you can achieve just by coming out of that restriction there.
Yeah. And if you don't achieve what you want to achieve, you still can get something out of what or how far you've gone. So even if you don't reach your goal for whatever reason it is, you'll probably then learn why you didn't reach that goal and what's missing for you to get to that part. So you've just kind of always got to look at it that way as well.
I think so too, and I think that you're way ahead for trying to achieve your goals, and even if you don't reach them, you're still miles ahead of the people who do nothing.
100%. At least you're actually doing something and trying, you know.
Yes. Oh, it's lovely. We're so motivational. We're so positive. We're so vibrant here. Yes. Can you feel the energy, the atmosphere? It's wicked. Awesome. Okay, we've got some other questions here that some people are listening. Okay, do you like travel? And if so, where? Why?
I love to travel. Traveling is one of my favorite things to do. I love meeting new people. I love finding out about different cultures, trying new food. And do you know, I actually think that from traveling, I've always traveled from a very young age as well. With my parents, they've always taken us to a lot of different places when we were younger. So I was very, very lucky. But as I've got older, it's always something that's been a big part of my life. And yeah. I actually think part of how I am as a person is because of the places I've traveled to. And I do think I am quite open to new things and new ideas because I've traveled to a lot of places. But I'm also very lucky with work that I get to travel a lot as well.
Yes.
Do a lot of radio broadcasts from different places around the world. So I'm really lucky there. But all my money that I ever save up is just to go traveling.
Goes on travel. Goes on your yes. Where are you now? Yes. I'm spending money over there.
I absolutely love it. And I just think it's so important as well, just to see what else is going on in the world and what other cities are like and how other people live. Yeah, super important, and I love it, and I always will love traveling.
I think you're right. I think it's wonderful when you can experience culture and how people have their values and beliefs, and to understand it just opens your mind that humanity is far greater than how we judge it or see it. And I say judge it because sometimes we do, but it's breaking that to understand that we live so differently. I mean, you go to India, you'll go to other countries there, and you find out culture is like, it mind blows you. Come back as a totally different character.
But do you know what? It fascinates me so much to think about how many people there are on this planet and how every person has a different life. I don't know if that's weird, but I think it's really crazy to think that. And then I even think like there's still tribes out in jungles or wherever they are in the world that have a totally different life, that have never probably even seen a city, probably don't even know that some of like the way that other people live. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. There's just
it's insane.
so many different ways of living.
It's the interesting thing, because I think that word tribe, and I think tribe now is a collective. We look at it as a collective group of people who work together, do something together, which a tribe does when you think about that community. But I think now that word tribe is starting to come back. So your music tribe, your travel tribe, your retreat tribe, the different things people are doing, your spiritual tribe. I think it's a lovely active word, like you're connecting with nature, culture, and you're doing something there, which is rather than just group or party.
It's a nice word to use, because it's kind of like everybody in your tribe are you're connected in some kind of way. So it's not just like a group of people that have got together and they're doing something. It's an actual feeling that we're going towards the same thing to do the same thing. So yeah, it is a nice word, tribe. Yeah.
Yes, Carl Jung described this as the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness, when you're all together believing in one thing, like whether it's a function, whether it's a retreat, whether it's yoga, whether it's spiritual music, whatever it is. Okay. Do you have a fear or anxiety that people may not know about?
A fear or an anxiety. I think I wouldn't call it maybe a fear, but something maybe that plays not as much now, but used to play on my mind a lot, especially being in the industry that I am in and kind of putting myself out there. I used to think a lot. I used to worry a lot what other people would think, and I still do to this day. So especially if I am on a radio show or a TV show, and sometimes I would be like, should I say this or should I not say it, because it might upset people. And obviously I would always respect is first. So if there's something that I think could hurt somebody, then I wouldn't say it. But sometimes I would just overthink it, or I would put something on social media and then I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have said it like that, or I shouldn't write that word, or I shouldn't have put that picture up. And now I'm not saying that that's totally gone, because it is something that does still play on my mind, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I just think sometimes social media, going back to what we were saying before, can be a horrible place as well. There's a lot of horrible people out there, trolls that they call them.
Yes.
And stuff like that used to get to me a lot. So yeah, I'd probably say that's something that I would maybe say is a fear or an anxiety. Probably that,
Okay.
yeah.
So when you say that, how would you deal with it? So when you say you've overcome the old fears now, what people would think and things like this, what did you do to overcome this?
I think, first of all, I just kind of think to myself, you know what, this is my space and this is my life, and I'm not going to let anybody ruin that for me. That is like my main thought in my head. When I do start worrying, I'm like, you know what? Everybody's their own person and everyone has the right to say and do whatever they want. And I should not care if anybody else thinks differently, as long as it doesn't obviously hurt anybody's feeling. So yeah, I think it's just kind of I just have to remind myself that we are all our own person, and that we have the right to say and do whatever we want. And we're only here once, really.
Well, okay.
It's not really like, it's, if you want to do something, then you just go ahead and do it, so yeah, I think that's a few things that I just have to keep reminding myself, really.
Okay. So it's interesting there. So your thing there is about your self-growth, your self-love, that knowing that those fears that you had there in the past, you're now looking at this as being, well, this is me. I'm growing. I see my own value here. That you're using that self-confidence, which is lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you support any charities or community-based organisations or anything like this?
Actually, in fact, I've just come back this morning from a place here in Ibiza that's called Sakoma, and it is for dogs. So it's
Awesome.
yeah. So they have lots of dogs there that need adopting. There's a lot of abandoned dogs here on the island, unfortunately. So when I can, as much as I can, I volunteer at the dog pound to walk the dogs, because I don't have enough people to walk.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's lovely.
called Sakoma. So anybody that's like here in Ibiza or on the islands, and I'm sure in most places in Spain as well, most places around the world, obviously, you can volunteer at most of these places, and all they ask for is just a 30-minute walk, which it could be 30 minutes instead of you being on 30 minutes on social media or 30 minutes watching something on TV. Just go and walk a dog, have some fresh air, and give the dog a little bit of life, because I feel so sorry for some of them that come out. I just think they haven't been out for a couple of days. So
Oh, bless them, bless them.
That's my main thing that I do here. Yeah.
I love doing things like that, and to see the energy of a dog and to play with them, because as much as it's just an animal, it's not, it's a living thing and it gives back to you. And
It really
you love it
does.
when you see them happy.
You know, the one that I had this morning, it was a massive dog, actually. It was really big. The lady said to me, she's like, will you be okay with him? I was like, yeah, I think so. But he took me out for a walk this morning. It was huge. But you know what? He had the most gorgeous face, and his tail wagged the whole way, and he was running through the grass. And you know what? You leave them places just like, wow, this is what a great way to start the day, you know.
It's fabulous. It's lovely
Yeah.
to do that. So let's give a big shout to Sakoma. Thank you, Sakoma. Anybody in Ibiza, please go to them. Please go to them and take the dogs for a walk. Or any other charity, dog walking charity there. It helps. It's helped your fitness. It's good for your health. But also, when you get the energy from an animal, a living thing like this, you're taking it for a walk and it's enjoying it, you'll come away feeling something happened there that was nice. The exchange of energy was just wonderful. Yes. Oh, bless them, bless them, bless them. Okay, right. Are you vegetarian or vegan, or do you have a meal thing like this, or do you prefer like that, even if you are whatever?
Yeah, I haven't eaten meat for about, I want to say 7 years.
Wow.
And I did stop eating fish for a while as well, but I have something called histamine intolerance. So that histamine is naturally in a lot of different foods, and it's in a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruit. So I stopped eating fish for a while, but I was diagnosed with this histamine intolerance, and I was kind of realizing that it was becoming really difficult for me to eat, because I wasn't eating fish, I wasn't eating meat, I wasn't eating a lot of vegetables. So for example, I can't have tomatoes, I can't have spinach, I can't have aubergines, I can't have courgettes, I can't have bananas, strawberries, pineapples. It just really upsets me, and I suffer from really bad migraines. So
Yes.
it's something I cut out of my diet. But obviously, a lot of vegetarian options are tomato-based, aubergines, spinach. So it got to a point where I was like, a lot of restaurants that I used to go to, and even cooking at home, was becoming a bit difficult. So I did introduce fish back into my diet. Out of choice, I probably wouldn't. And at home, I very rarely do cook fish. But when I'm out, I will eat fish. But I don't eat any dairy or any meat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the same. I don't eat meat. I don't eat dairy. I'm dairy intolerant, and I just find it not necessarily through the killing of the animal, but I'm vegetarian because I actually digest it better. So it's far better than anything else, and I just feel so much better on it. My energy's up, everything feels better, and yes, feeling there, feeling good. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Do you have a heroine? Now, we talked a bit about this, and I think that you were saying about as you were growing up there, younger, and how you used to look at the lady. Yeah.
Probably, actually, you know what? So I started at Ibiza Global Radio 4 years ago. The director, the lady that took me on, who's called Anna Tor, I sometimes just, I don't know how she does it sometimes. She's also a touring artist, a touring DJ. So she tours the world every single weekend. And on top of that, totally manages and directs Ibiza Global Radio, which is a lot of work, coordinating teams, radio shows, artists, jingles, advertisements, everything. So she's definitely somebody that I've always really, really looked up to, because she's just go, go, go.
Yes.
She's always super productive, always really motivates you to try new things. So yeah, I'd probably say that she's definitely somebody I've always really looked up to.
Lovely. Okay. Hold on just a second. I'll quickly plug in a little didgeridoo. I'll be there in a second. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. A little battery problem there, nearly. Right. Okay. So, okay. Do you have any future? Let's have a look here. Do you have any future plans for a studio or a TV company?
I do have actually, but I have a meeting this afternoon about it, so I'm not going to say much just in case because I don't know what's happening.
We'll have a little look.
Please let me know.
Okay, so let's see how this is going to go. So all I'm going to do, this is, now with the tarot cards here and with free will, just to give our viewers here the idea here, the cards, they don't say this is locked in and this is exactly how it's going to be. What it does here is it shows you the trend of what's going on. So even if it says, oh God, this doesn't look good, it's what we've got to look at is what we can change with it to make it better. For example, right. I'm not trying to say it's going to go right or wrong, but it's going to go wrong with it. But let's have a little look here. Now, this is what I like to do with my viewers here, and because it gives you the input in this, even though you can't shuffle the cards yourself there. But if I just do, I want to just shuffle the cards away. And what I like to do, as soon as you're ready, thinking about this interview this afternoon, and just tell me when to stop shuffling. When you think the cards, as if you were shuffling them yourself, you tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, I'm going to cut the pack here into 3 piles. So again, I'm giving you control here. So it's your input, which is important. And of the 3 piles of cards here, if you were to focus on these just for a second and just think, which pile would you choose to for the interview this afternoon? Which pile would you be attracted to?
The third.
The third on the right. Okay, let's go for the third. Right. Okay. Okay, so how's the interview going to go this afternoon? I think that you will come out of there. I think you'll go into this very excited, very expressive, looking really good, very positive and feeling vibey about this. I think there's going to be some decisions for you to make in this. It's not just quite a straight road. There's going to be some decisions to look at. And it also it will be for you. Be mindful what you're taking on.
Okay.
Because it's almost like we wish something to happen. But like sometimes we say, just be careful what you wish for. It's almost like to say here, just like you going for a dog walk the other day. I would love to walk a dog. But the dog here was about 6 foot high.
Yeah.
That big. But maybe, this is good. This will go, I think, will go very well. I think to be careful is, I wouldn't say to focus on limitations. I think here, this is going to be quite, going to get you thinking outside the box again. Thinking, whoa, not only have I got a box I think was going to be that big, it's now even bigger. Even bigger. Wow. Now I've got to think even bigger. So it looks good, and I think you'll come across very well, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy the whole experience. It looks fun.
Yeah,
really fun.
Very excited.
Yes, and I think if I was to look at a way to come forward for this, if I was to look for the motive or the driver in you, how you express yourself, it's the young energy. Perfect.
Yeah, which actually is what's missing in the company at the moment. So.
Oh, no, interesting. Isn't it interesting? That's interesting. If you come over too formal, too black and white, too matter of fact, it won't resonate. Come over with fun. Come over, this is what I can bring, the enthusiasm, the energy, the drive. I think you'll do very, very, very well. Now, just to also hear, now, can you sing?
In the shower. I sing. I like to think I can sing, but I don't know. I'm not a great singer.
We're not going to put you under pressure, don't worry. Or should we? Maybe we should.
What do you want me to sing?
Give us a few lines. Give us a lovely song.
A lovely song. What was I singing earlier in the car? Right, let me just see what my last Spotify was, because I was singing something in the car actually, and it was "Ain't nobody loves me better makes me happy. That is all you're getting.
It's so emotional, it is.
I can't believe you just did that.
Well, here we have. Not only are you,
Here we come.
our world is getting bigger and bigger. Oh, fantastic. Now, we're also discussing it just a little bit, just to round off the show here. We're also discussing a little bit about auras.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're interested in auras, of what auras are. We had a little discussion there. Now, what would be your question about the auras?
My question was, how do you read auras? Can anybody do it, or is it something you're born with, or is it something that you learn?
Okay, the aura was discovered to be, it has evidence to exist since 1911. Before that, everybody used to think it was just a load of old poppycock. But nowadays, people understand that the aura does exist, and it's the energy field. It's the energy field around our body. And for men, it extends to about 12 inches. And for, got to be careful of that. Men got this size thing anyway. See, my aura that big, really. Okay, right. Where women, actually, their aura is even bigger. It's about 15. The feminine aura is known to be bigger than men. So, men, sorry. The aura is even bigger. Now, some people, as I can, when I work with auras, I can actually see them. I tune in there. I don't look out of there. I look out of there, which is the third eye. And when I look there and I focus, and to see the aura, you literally have to defocus from the head, but look around the head. So you're almost like your eyes are looking on the center point, the forehead of someone's head, but your outside focus is around the head. Then you could start to see the aura. Just as much you use your hand, especially in a darkened room or an area where you've got a white wall, when you really look at your hand and defocus from it, you can see the energy color. Now, the first colour you get here is normally a white colour, and that's called the etheric double. And it's the spirit's contour to the human body. The two together give us earthly and spiritual life. That's the nice bit. If we didn't have an etheric double, I would be talking to a ghost. So you've got one. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. And then outside there come the other colours. Now, auras, I'm going to do a big show on auras, but basically the aura really relates to how you function in this life, the energy you give off, what you're thinking, what you're doing. And when you think about the law of attraction, you think about positivity. You can move that positivity out into your aura to resonate in the world. Now, when we resonate in the world, just as, for instance, I'll ask you this question here. Have you ever gone up to people, not really looked at their faces, anything, but as you drawn slightly closer towards them, have you actually felt, I like that person, or I want to get away?
Yes.
Because this may well be, I'm not going to say it is, because this is about the theosophy of the aura. But when we draw close to people, often when we come close to them, the energies there resonate with ours, or they don't. It's like, for instance, when you sat on a bus, or you sat on a train or a plane, have you ever sat next to people and just think, just like the other lady there you were talking about earlier on, you just want to have a conversation with them. Have you had that experience with other people?
Yeah, definitely.
You want to chat, and just go on to the cows come home. Brilliant. Have you had the opposite, where you got close to people, sat on a train or a bus or whatever, and thought, I don't want to be here?
Yes, that has happened to me as well. Yeah. But yeah. I also when that happens, I also try not to judge right from the beginning. I don't like to judge people the first 5 seconds. So I do always, even if I have got a bit of a funny feeling or a funny energy that I'm feeling from that person, I do always think, okay, I'm not gonna not talk to this person because I don't judge them. I've only just met them for 5 seconds. So but yeah, I've definitely felt that before, but sometimes I just carry on with it just to see where it goes. And sometimes I could be totally wrong, and then I'll be like, oh, they're actually really nice people, but sometimes I'm also right.
It's still pretty good though, isn't it? I mean, it's a lovely thing when you look at the aura, you can feel the colours. I mean, if I take my glasses off, I can then see the aura. Glasses are very restrictive for me for reading mediumship, but also seeing auras. But as I see yours here, I just pick up it's got a beautiful orange colour to it. So that's not necessarily because you're a Leo and we're thinking about colours through that. But the orange here is about motivation. It's about energy. It's about going out there and being positive with people. And it's on the outer aura. So your first bit here, people are going to notice about you is this oomph, this lift of energy, this wow, amazing energy that needing. Now it's interesting here because I'd imagine as much as you're a motivational character, motivating, would you understand, because just inside this here is, there's another colour here, there's a green and there's a red. Would you understand here that you're attracted to people who have their own, who have self-developed themselves?
Definitely, yeah.
People pioneered themselves. And because I can imagine, I can see, even though we had this conversation here, your aura colours are very much about resonating to that beautiful energy, to connect with people who have done something, made an impression. It's almost like this is like Steve Jobs used to say that he was going to put a dent in the universe, or ding in the universe. This is about you connecting with people who put their own bit into the universe to make life. And
definitely, yeah, 100%. I'm always very attracted to people that are really hardworking and that help other people and work on their own self-development, self-love, and just nice people.
That's quite a these sort of people here. We think about this when we this is more for spiritual people that I would understand as being people who develop themselves but enjoy helping others. And sometimes it's our greatest way. And when we talk in astrology about Chiron, who's the wounded healer, sometimes it's our ability to go forwards, but we also have our wounds in our life. Some of the greatest ways to achieve is achieve stuff for yourself, but also give to others.
Yeah.
Give to others, because then it's magic. Then
help people as well to not reach their goals, because I think everyone kind of has to do that by themselves. But I do like to help people make their path and try and get to where they want to do. I enjoy helping people with their projects and other things that they've got to do.
Lovely. I think that must be quite rewarding as well when those people come back to you and say it worked.
Yeah. And I like people helping me too, so I like working with people to make things happen.
Yes. Well, hopefully this show has helped you a little bit to get out there a little bit further. And
you know what, I think it was a perfect day to do this, because now I feel all energetic for my interview later and all happy.
Amazing. It's been absolutely fabulous talking to you today and just hearing about
Thank you so much.
Hearing about your story and everything. Now, if there's a message that you would just like to give to listeners out there, what would it be? It
would be to work hard, stay open-minded, travel as much as often, be nice to people, because you never know what anybody's going through. You have no idea sometimes, and to have a lot of fun along the way.
Brilliant.
That would be my message.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Okay, so how can people get hold of it? What's your website? What's your website there?
So probably what I use the most, the network that I use the most, is probably Instagram. My Instagram is Katie Hay Knight. That's Katie with an IE, HAYKNIGHT. And then and the same again on Facebook. My Facebook page is Katie Knight, and my website is katiehaleyKnight.com.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully a lot of people would look into following you, and I'm sure they would. And it's just, also just this, it's just another question just before we go. Do you find you have quite a following through your motivation?
Maybe, yeah. I think a lot of the following that I do have is to do with the music industry. But I do often get a lot of messages from people saying, "Oh, like, how did you get to where you are, and what are you working on?"
Yes.
I also launched a podcast last year, and I get a lot of messages through from people saying, like, how did you start? What do you do to get to where you are? And so, yeah, I think probably more people wanting to know how I've done things to get to where I am now.
Wonderful.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's interesting because it's good you've got people who want to, that you're already setting a path and a precedent in your own way of motivation to, if you want to do something, just work hard, do it, and enjoy life along the way.
Yeah, it's all about having fun. And I know I said before about we only live once, but I actually want to correct that, because we don't live once. We live every day and we die once. I read that somewhere the other day and I thought that was lovely.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Okay. Katie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. It really has. And I wish you every success and good luck with your interview this afternoon. Have a wonderful year ahead. I'm sure we'll bump into each other again and chat again at some point here. And no, good luck with everything you do. Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and good luck with the show and the rest of your year as well. And I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Lovely, and please pass our love and blessings on to your team there at your TV and radio station as well. And all of you had a great year ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody. See you again soon on Sunday, 5 p.m. We're doing a live show, and it's a Cafe Clairvoyance. Join me, and we can have a good chat. Live show on YouTube on Cafe Clairvoyance. Phil Griggs, let's talk. Cheerio.